Hello everyone, this is Josh Fission, and I'm here to give you my Season 1 finale review and discussion video on Merlin. So in this episode, we have we're introduced to Arthur and Merlin and the rest of the Knights of Camelot, basically in the woods, and it seems like they're hunting something. But they get more than what they're bargained for when they see this huge snakes like slash dinosaur serpent like beast coming at them, and they're barely able to escape. Well, one of the knights actually dies, but for the most part, everyone's safe. So Arthur and Merlin tells the king, and the king is he's kind of dismissive when Gaius mentions that the beast might be the question beast, and basically the question beast is basically I believe something of the old religion, and as we know from this entire first season, that the king has so much hatred and disdain for the old religion that just the fact that I believe he wiped it out like years ago, like around the time Arthur was a little baby, that there's no possible way it could have returned magic that has been wiped clean and all that. But Gaius isn't so certain. So he tells Merlin to watch out for this question beast and basically reminds Merlin that the question beast, once it touches you, like scratch, bite, whatever, you're dead. There's no cure for it. So he wants him to be on his guard. So when the knights, Arthur and Merlin basically capture, well, they don't really capture, but when they find the beast, Arthur engages in one-on-one combat, and the beast gets the best of Arthur. And due to Merlin's magic, he saves Arthur like he usually does. But Merlin, when he finds Arthur, he obviously sees that Arthur is injured due to the bite mark. So we have this interesting scene and really emotional scene when he brings Arthur, to Gaius, and they're trying to find cures. Merlin saying, "Listen, it was my destiny to protect him, and he's also my friend. I'm gonna do everything I can, to save him." He's going through everything in the magic book to try to find a remedy or a cure, but none. But they can't find it. Neither him or Gaius. And you have this really powerful scene in which the king is cradling his son Arthur, you know, and collapsing on his knees in outright misery. As you can tell he feels though like Arthur's gonna die. So we see Arthur. He's basically in a fever, like coma, basically, and everyone's just waiting for him to die. And Guinevere, has this scene with him, which she's basically like, "Listen, don't die. I know the man you are inside, and Camelot needs you. We need you to be our king. Your dad's kind of an a-hole, and he's not a great king, but you can be the king that we truly need." So Merlin goes to the great dragon, and the great dragon tells him about the Isles of the Blessed, and that's where basically the old religion and basically the old wizards and like prophetess and prophets, blah blah blah, the magical beings used to reign before Arthur's dad destroyed them all for the most part, with the exception of Nineveh. So I believe Merlin says he'll go, that he's gonna go and he'll do anything basically to save Arthur. And he says, "Listen, Merlin, remember, young Pendragon, aka Arthur, has to survive through any means necessary." So Merlin tells Gaius, basically, that he's gonna go to the Isles of the Blessed. Now we know Gaius know his way when it comes to old religion. He was a part of it. He was the exception, you know, like the only exception that the king made when it came to, exterminate everyone except Gaius, basically. Um, and Gaius is like saying, "Dude, you can't do this. There's a price you have to pay." But we know how Merlin is. Merlin's very stubborn, and also Arthur, his best friend, is dying, so he's gonna do what he has to do to protect not only just Arthur but any friend of his. So he packs up. I believe that Gaius gives him a rabbit foot for good luck, and then we see Merlin follow the map straight into the Isles of the Blessed. So once he gets there, it's like basically like a courtyard, like an old castle, and there we meet Nineveh, our favorite hot, sexy villain. So she basically is kind of surprised to see Merlin there. Merlin tells her basically what he needs. He gets straight to the point. And she's like, "Listen, you know how this goes, especially when it comes to old religion. A life for a death, or like a death for a life, basically. If you want me to save Arthur or help you save Arthur, there has to be a death, to maintain the balance. So Merlin says basically the same thing to the great dragon, in which he's like, listen, Arthur's life is like worth mine like 100 times over, basically, and he's willing to give it up. And she's like, okay. And then she gives him the water or something from the sky, like the rain, whatever. He gives it to him in the showers. And then as soon as she puts it in his direction, he grabs it. She grabs his arm like this. And at first you're like, oh shit, this dude's really gonna fucking die. He's gonna die in the season finale of his own show. What the hell? So we see him make it to Camelot, and him and Gaius gives Arthur, the drink. And Arthur heals miraculously later on that night. But unbeknownst to Merlin, who thought his life would be ended once Arthur survived, it was actually his mother's, who came to Camelot all bubbled up with all this like it was really disgusting. I can't even describe to you like the oozes and all that crap that was like coming out. So Merlin's pissed off that Nineveh in a way kind of tricked him. Or at least he thought he tricked her, but she did say a life for a life. And she really didn't need to be specific. She kind of, warned him. Either way, he decides to go back to the Isles of the Blessed to deal with her. And Gaius, knowing Nineveh since they've been best friends, and probably feeling a little bit guilty that he did play a role for not stopping Arthur's father from destroying his old friends and the old religion, and basically in a way being responsible for the beast that Nineveh has become, he decides to go to the Isles of the Blessed. So him and Nineveh have this, little conference call, I like to call it, when they're face to face. And she's like, listen, you're a traitor. You betrayed your own friends. And now you want to be all noble. Now you want to sacrifice your life for Merlin. Why? And he says straight up that he believes Merlin and Arthur are the future, of Camelot. And that with Merlin, side by side with Arthur, that he'll be able to bring back magic again, like it was back when they were young and before Arthur's dad screwed everything up. So basically, she was surprised by this, but you could tell that when she got close to him, she was like this. She was like, "So you're ready to die, Gaius?" It was like she'd been waiting years, decades for that to say that, And Gaius raised his eyebrow like he's a rock and was like, screw it. For Merlin, I'll do it. So he dies, and Merlin gets there right in time, when he dies, basically. And him and Nineveh have this kind of brief struggle because Nineveh, I believe, it was kind of weird. I thought Nineveh basically was kind of like, you know what? With Gaius gone, basically, I can teach you how to live up to your potential, and I can be the one to help Arthur achieve his destiny. But Merlin's like, no, you killed my mentor, aka my friend, and it's my destiny, to basically be the one to help Arthur get to that plateau. So one of us got to die. So they have this brief little struggle, and it seems as though, Merlin dies when Nineveh got that really powerful, like fire, like blast to him. But he's able to survive, and he uses like the weather and conjures up like a rainstorm and kills Nineveh, and with her death, it was a life for a life. So Gaius is restored back to life. So that's basically how the episode ended. Also in this episode, we had Merlin before he even goes to the Isle of Blessed for the last time, before his last confrontation with Nineveh, basically saying his goodbyes to his friends Arthur and Guinevere. But yeah, that's basically all that happened in this episode. It was a really good finale. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. If I miss anything, or if you guys want to write your thoughts on the episode, please write down below in the comment section. And thank you guys for watching my video. Until we meet again, adios.